27 kids in my kids' daycare were sent home with the stomach bug.
Honestly, the stomach bug is the family's worst nightmare.
What am I going to do?
You are royally screwed.
So I have this thing when I'm sick, I can't look at my phone. Like, it bothers me. It makes me nauseous. So could you imagine me with the stomach bug during free agency? I'm just going to give my phone to you. I trust you enough. You break the stories.
Could you imagine?
Welcome back to Scoop City. I'm the athletic senior NFL insider, Dianna Russini.
And I'm Chase Daniel, played 14 years in the NFL.
It's like you guys actually listen to us. I know the last few shows we've been asking you to subscribe and comment, and our numbers are going up. So
are we at 10,000 subs right now on YouTube?
I think we're close. Close.
Let's go.
But the comments are filling up. We appreciate the positive, the negative. But if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, make sure you check it out. I've got a friend of mine who sets their phone up on the treadmill and they watch our show that way. So, and apparently it is a very different experience watching and listening to us. I'm sure people could debate which is worse.
I don't even want to get into that.
Hear the voice. So make sure you check that out. So here we are. Is Cam Ward going to go number one? Matthew Stafford, he's staying with the Rams. Really the first domino to fall. So much chatter about the quarterback market, what this draft is going to look like. Now that the combine is wrapped up and everything's settled and teams are spending their days in meetings, closed door meetings, discussing what are we going to do in this upcoming free agency. And the rumors, they are flying everywhere. Who is freaking out? Who's looking to make a move? Who's desperate? And we're getting answers too. So, Chase, you want to do this? Let's get right to it.
Do it.
Here's what I'm hearing around the league. Well, Chase, how are they going to do it? How are the Cincinnati Bengals going to pay all their guys? They've been so public, so out with how they want to do this. Jamar Chase is their priority. I've been told that they are committed to getting a Tee Higgins deal done. And then they've also got Trey Hendrickson. And the news came down that Tee Higgins has officially been franchise tagged. So that's going to buy them some time, second year in a row. So that's about 26.2 against the cap. And so now they've got a few days to figure out how they're going to get a deal done with Tee Higgins, knowing that this is a lot of money for two offensive weapons that Joe Burrow, wants badly back on this team.
Yeah. My first reaction, it really sucks for Tee Higgins. And let me just explain why it sucks. It doesn't suck that he's going to make $26 million. Everyone's like, he's $26 million. I just want to make sure people understand out there what the franchise tag is. It's a way to keep players away from getting to free agency. So Tee Higgins obviously played on the franchise tag last year. Hopefully for him, he doesn't play on it this year because the goal of playing is getting to free agency. So now Tee Higgins is going into his 6th year and is yet to hit free agency, because if he hits free agency, he's going to get $30 million a year. Say it's a 4-year, $120 million deal with 90 guaranteed. He's got $27 million guaranteed here. And it's just, this is a bigger conversation, which we can have later on when we don't have anything to talk about the franchise tag. Players hate it, although it only affects 6 to 7 guys a year. So you're not going to collectively bargain to get rid of it because it only affects that many people. But if I'm Tee Higgins right now, I'm not happy.
You're mad because you haven't had a chance to hit free agency, and it hasn't appeared that this team is really willing to give him the money that he wants, right? Because Jamar Chase has been made the priority. I think we can all agree that's fair. He is the best receiver, one of the best in football, and he's going to reset the market for a non-quarterback. An offer's been made to Jamar Chase. They're still far apart on this, though. So it seems like nothing is ever easy when it comes to these contracts. Why is it always so far apart? Why can't everyone just meet in the middle? There's always drama around all these deals when it seems just so obvious. You want this guy, and you know he's going to be expensive, so pay him.
Yeah, the Jamar thing to me, the first time I've heard it, you saying that they're far apart. I don't know how you can be far apart, because you should have paid him last year. Then all he does is go out earn like the 5th or 6th Triple Crown ever. Okay, he's a Triple Crown winner. He's one of the, if not the best receivers in all of football. You know he's going to make the most out of any player in the history of the NFL not a quarterback. So why aren't we paying him? Is it years? Is it money? Like, it just seems like the longer you wait, the more it goes up.
Exactly. And they're just really, really top heavy at this point, and when you talk to people around the league about the Bengals situation, because a lot of people were watching this like, how are they going to pay these guys? How is this going to work out? There were some people who felt that they should just let T walk, just let T hit free agency, go get a second receiver somewhere, pay Jamar, bring Trey Hendrickson, or at least extend Trey Hendrickson. They've got 6 picks in this upcoming draft. So I just, in terms of overall team building, I'm curious about the philosophy there too. I'm not saying I disagree with what they're doing, but they're spending a lot of money. It's top heavy on offense here, when their biggest problem last year was clearly on defense.
Yeah. Sorry, there are currently yardmen outside my
Hello, yardmen.
working.
What do you think?
They're working hard. Yeah. What do you guys think about Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase? Like, my thing is, I would have been a part of the group that probably was like, hey, the Bengals cannot afford Tee Higgins, because I think Tee Higgins is a great player. But I think personally, I would rather have Trey Hendrickson back, because you're telling me, first of all, I don't think they can keep 3. I don't know what you know about the situation. I just don't know financially. Are you going to, plus Joe Burrow, you have 4 of your stars making over $28 million a year. You have so many other holes somewhere else. So
it's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, right?
I just don't know how you do it, because you need. There's other holes. Your run game defense wasn't great. I'd love for you to go out, and Chase Brown came down the stretch. I think you're going to draft a guy there, because the running back class is really deep. But couldn't you go out and get a really good, not great, a really good number 2 at $10 to $12 million a year, and take that other 18, right? Because we're going to say he's going to make 30. So $12 million for a number 2, but take the other 18 and get 2 starting guards, or a starting defensive tackle and a starting safety. Like, I feel like that money for T would be better spent elsewhere on the team to make them more well-rounded. Now, I know Joe Burrow, how he feels about him, so I'm guessing that's probably driving the ship there.
Absolutely, right? And you bring up a point of just being so top-heavy. It then has effects on all these other needs that this team have, and extensions for other players, right? So, you have like a stud corner, like Taylor Britt, right? Good corner.
Yeah.
Year 4. Do you want to keep him? Yeah. But this could be tough to do now, right? So, they may be able to find ways to do all this, but I just think overall the team building here, I just have some concerns of how they're going to be able to move forward. Maybe Joe Burrow is going to be real happy, but Joe Burrow's ultimate happiness is going to be winning a Super Bowl, and you can't do that with just paying your star weapons. You're going to need more.
Well, and we've never really seen this happen before, and we've talked about this before with the Micah Parsons Dallas thing and CD and Dak. There's really never been there has never been a situation in NFL history where a team is paying 3 guys more than $30+ million a year. Now, T, is he going to get 30 from Cincy? He'd probably have to take a deal a little less than that, but that's a real possibility if T hits the open market. And I think that's probably why T's saying, like, man, like, just sign me or let me go to free agency. That's the most frustrating thing about this whole situation.
Sure sounds like we got a lot of hamstring issues coming up this summer. Looking forward to that.
Oh, Bengals fans are going to love that comment.
I just don't want to do this again. I want these guys everyone to get paid, everyone to be on the same page, and I want to see the Cincinnati Bengals back at the Super Bowl and everybody happy, because this was a really tough season.
Back-to-back years with no playoffs. I agree.
So we mentioned up top there that the Matthew Stafford domino fell after it absolutely dominated the combine all of last week, and Chase is so funny. You talk to people at the Raiders, and they were crushed that they did not get Matthew Stafford, which tells me that they really thought that they had a shot. You talk to the Giants, they were a little cooler about it. They weren't as emotionally scarred by the fact that Matthew Stafford wasn't going to be there. They sort of had that mindset, all right, on to the next. But I do believe that both teams thought they had a good chance. Something was communicated to them. And look, some of it was probably just some good play by Jimmy Sexton. Or perhaps with Matthew. Somebody was talking to these teams, letting them know, you got a chance. Because you don't feel it. You don't have those expectations if someone doesn't tell you that there's a shot, that there's an opportunity here. Yeah. You've got these two teams willing to pay him 2 years, $90 to $100 million. That's a lot of money. And on the multiple years, they were giving him 2 years, and he still walked.
Can I ask you a question? Where do you think in the whole situation? Because, look, I was part of the media problem. I call it a media problem because I was freaking out, and it's probably it wasn't that big a deal. We probably knew Stafford was probably going to end up in LA, but according to you and according to other people that I've talked to, I feel where did that change? Because there was a real possibility, as you reported, that he was going to maybe go somewhere else, and it was talked about for 2 straight weeks. Where did it turn, and where did Sean McVay finally be you know what? All right, let's get him back.
Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford have a great relationship, and they always have. There's tremendous respect and likability. They have all the great things that you want between HC and your QB.
Yeah.
But to say that this was a clean, non-dramatic few weeks between the Rams and Matthew Stafford is a lie.
Oh, wow.
It was a roller coaster. It was an up and down, back and forth. There were days where it sounded like Matthew was done with him. And then there were days where I would hear that, I don't know, this may work. He's just going to go back. He's just going to go back. When I tell you, it almost felt hourly. Granted, I was at the combine, and you could have told me my house floated away, and I would have been like, oh, really? Anyways, back to what I'm doing. It was so hard to keep track of what's really going on in the world when you're in Indy.
For sure.
But there is a reason why it was the way it was. And look, maybe in his heart, because have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and you're trying to break up with them and you think you want something else, but deep down you're like, I just want to be with this person. I just want to be with the person I'm with. But
I've never been in that situation. No.
You just have loved Hillary this whole time.
I've loved Hillary.
She's the only person you ever been with, the only person you ever dated, all the way through.
You're the best, babe. She watches this, by the way, on YouTube. She doesn't comment, but she watches it every day.
Yeah, she texts me. Love you. So I see it like this. I do believe that Matthew wanted to see what his value was out there. I think Jimmy Sexton, his agent, wanted to see what the value out there so they could go to the Rams and present, pay us. This is what every team wanted him that needs a quarterback.
No doubt.
They all were poking around on it. So here we are now, this past Friday, 6:30 in the morning. Matthew Stafford drives into the facility to meet with Sean McVay face-to-face, and they work this thing out. And now he's a Ram, and he's still on year-to-year deals.
That's what's crazy. You're glossing over that. The money, first of all, the money hasn't come out yet, right? So I'm imagining it's not what you had reported in the $90 to $100 million range. But I don't know. It's an interesting situation to me because I feel like he's worth way more than probably what they are. Why do they have an issue committing more than 1 year? Because I believe Stafford, just on film and on tape, if he stays healthy, he can play 3 more good years.
So I had somebody that was poking around on this from a interested in Matthew Stafford space, that they feel like the Rams know something that we don't know. And I feel like teams feel that way.
Oh.
Right? Because to the point you just made, why are you not giving him 2 years? What is it? It has to be an injury thing.
He's always sort of been hurt, though, right?
He is always. He's like walking hurt. But who cares? He plays through it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll never be able to really figure out what that's about. But look, what if it's Sean McVay looking around and wanting to grow and teach and coach a younger quarterback out there? He's seeing Kevin O'Connell become a magician with all these different quarterbacks. He's seen Kyle Shanahan get the best out of Brock Purdy. These are all his guys. Maybe in Sean McVay's mind, he wants to get a young quarterback on his roster so he can mold him the way we've seen these other young, great offensive-minded coaches do and have tons of success with it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think McVay is looking toward the future, and I think he's already got his eye out there. It's going to be fascinating to me if they take a quarterback in the top 2 or 3 rounds, if there is a quarterback that he likes, or does he wait until next year? Because they got to find their guy of the future.
All right, well, now the Giants need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. Everyone is so desperate for quarterbacks. It's so sad. It stinks, right? Because the options aren't great. All right, so it's the New York Giants are interested in Aaron Rodgers. They've had conversations with his camp about that possibly being a thing. I say that to you, and you're already making a face. You've heard it before, but what do you think when I put that out there the other day?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I was going to give you love because you were like one of the first people, if not the first person to put that out. And I read your tweet, and I started laughing. Like, just as I'm like, man, like, I think it's a twofold. I think one, for the Giants, it tells you all you need to know about this upcoming quarterback class and how they feel about it. I can't imagine they feel great, and I can't imagine there's not a guy that they feel like can win from day one because, quite honestly, it's a lose-lose situation for the Giants. And let me explain that, because if they don't win this year or they don't show a lot of improvement from the last year, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll are probably fired. They were almost fired this year. Like, they almost moved on from them. And then now you're hitching your wagon to Aaron Rodgers because it's like, what's the next best thing? And if I'm Aaron's perspective, I'm like, Aaron, what else is out there? Like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to win? Are you trying to just play to make some more money? I know you're not broke. You're really, really rich. You've made a ton of money in your career. And I just think going across the town to the Giants, it's a worse team skill-wise than the New York Jets because they have Malik Neighbors and they have Tyrone Tracy. Good left tackle. Offensive line isn't great. It's just like, okay, say you don't win, it's a 1-year rental and everyone's fired. And so it's an interesting situation that I'm just like, I just really want to be in Aaron Rodgers' head right now, thinking like, why do you want to continue playing for for a team like the Giants? Now, if Stafford got moved and you play for the Rams, I'm like, you can go win a Super Bowl. You can't win a Super Bowl with the Giants. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. We'll see if it actually comes together and if this becomes a real situation, because I don't think there's a lot of teams right now that are and we've talked about this last week, even before I told you about the Giants having interest in him. I don't think he has a lot of options. The choice, the LA situation was the best one for him. And the second this Stafford decided to go back, that was actually my first thought, was like, oh man, Rodgers is going to have to maybe go to a team that he's not going to win with. And maybe this is the time where he thinks about retirement. I don't get that sense. In Indy, he's playing. But maybe when he takes some time off here, goes golfing in Newport next week, he thinks about it and is like, you know what? Maybe this isn't worth it. Who knows? But, I mean, I can't think of a place right now for him that makes sense. Like, do you think Vegas should go after him? No. I don't sense that they are. Vegas has interest in Russell Wilson. I'm hearing some Sam Darnold.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers' contract would look like? Like a 1-year 30? Less? More?
Less.
Oh, okay. So then, do you understand like what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't want you to speculate, but like, what are we doing it for? Like, if you're going to a worse team in a situation where they're on the hot seat and you have one more year do you just play for the love of the game?
I don't know. That's
like,
what
think about that. Like that to me is a fascinating. I mean, I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate.
No, that's right. Well, I don't think there's any sure way to see this right now. I think it's going to develop. I think we're going to learn more. Let's see what happens next week. Let's see where he lands, and then let's see what he decides to do. Because, look, if he wants to stay in New Jersey and play for the Giants,
How should Giants fans feel about it? Because you're from Jersey. How should Giants fans feel about that? Seriously, after seeing the absolute disaster on what was the Aaron Rodgers Jets tenure, how would you feel about it?
Well, they probably should feel the way Jets fans felt when the Jets originally traded for him, which is optimistic because there is some good there. Aaron Rodgers can still play. He's not a bad football player anymore. It's just
Giants fans should feel optimistic about Aaron Rodgers.
I'm hoping
how far the franchise has fallen?
I think he wants to show that whatever happened with the Jets is not who he wants to be and who he is.
Oh, I agree with
now,
that.
Now, my
1000%.
question are these leaders the right ones for him?
Gotcha.
Too, right? So,
Gotcha.
like, we talked about this before. Like,
Yeah.
was Salah's personality good for Rodgers? Like, Salah's just is a great person. He's a good dude. But, you know, in my opinion, Aaron needed somebody who has either played at a high level, experienced success at a high level, has done it, and could tell a future Hall of Fame quarterback, this is how we're doing it. Is that Brian Daboll? You know, I don't know. Brian's worked, obviously, with Tom Brady, with Josh Allen. He's worked with some of the greats. But
I think Daboll's a great coach. I just don't know the working relationship, you know.
Yeah. What would that look like?
Yeah.
And I would like to think if the Giants are able to get it done, they would learn from the Jets and their neighbor and maybe not make some of those same mistakes. So
last thing about this, if I'm the Giants, though, I'm trusting Cam Ward in a 1-year situation more than Aaron Rodgers right now.
Yeah, that's why I think the Giants are aggressively calling the Tennessee Titans, trying to move up. Right? The Titans thing, I don't want to say it's keeping me up at night, but I've definitely thought about it more than I want to.
Trade out. 1,000%.
I know what you're saying. But Will Levis probably isn't the answer, okay? So you have to show the owner that you guys are building towards something here. You're going to have to win some games. Do you think you can still win with Will Levis? Or do you go after Cam Ward here and
I don't think that Will Levis will be the starting quarterback for more than 2 or 3 games. If I'm Tennessee, though,
nice.
Yeah,
I think there's a chance that he doesn't start.
I am being nice. Thanks, Diana. Thank you for understanding that. I think that if you're Tennessee, just quickly, because I know we need to move on, I don't think that the Tennessee Titans are going to get better by drafting a quarterback at 1. I think they can get better trading back, maybe the 3. Look at the teams that need quarterbacks. The Jets, the Giants.
What's the word I love? Pillars.
And
they need pillars on this
and
roster.
You can technically still trade back to 3 and get the guy that they're hoping and gain a lot of draft pick compensation. Abdul Carter, if you trade out of 1, will still be there at 3 because the Browns are not passing on Travis Hunter or quarterback. But if you know what I mean. So if you go up to one or the other, plus you still might have Shedeur Sanders there if you fall in love with them, or Jackson Dart, I'm hearing, is moving up draft boards, and then you still get Abdul Carter. It's just who plays QB?
I wish
Mason
there was a
Rudolph
mix in this draft class. I wish there was a player that is just gonna come out and shock us, and we're like, oh, whoa, and then they turn out to be pretty good. So, what about for the Raiders, though? Right? I spent some time with Chip Kelly in Indy. He's awesome. He is really smart. Like, whoa.
He's a savant at that.
His recall is crazy.
How did he feel coming from college, going to the pros? Like,
we talked all about
relaxed,
it. It was
happy.
Yes, he is
You don't have to
chilling. He
awesome.
seems awesome. We I don't want to dive into too much of what we talked about, but we definitely discussed some of that difference between college and pro and what he's excited about, and just living in Vegas. That's always an interesting part of the move. He's never lived in Nevada.
It's gonna be nice and hot there in the summer. Chip.
Yeah. So you think about Chip here. A big one. You think about Chip. Like, does Russell Wilson make sense there? Because now you got Chip Kelly. Is who makes sense? What kind of offense?
We're hearing, like you said, we're hearing Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson. It doesn't look like the Steelers are going to re-sign Russell Wilson. So where does Russell end up? Yeah, can you go back to, Pete Carroll, build the culture up? I think that they should draft a guy. I think they should draft Jackson Dart, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I know it's high, and I just don't think Dart will make it out of the top 20. I feel like with Dart in a Chip Kelly offense that's college-based, can do all the RPO stuff, can do the zone read, can do the ball out of your hands quickly, can just get the ball to Brock Bowers or to another receiver that they get in the draft, because I think they need to draft a receiver too. I think Jackson Dart makes a ton of sense. And quite honestly, look, I personally wouldn't sign Sam Darnold to a 3-year deal when you just don't even know. You have so many other things. Darnold might cost you $30+ million a year. I think Russell for maybe a 1 year, and I guess and draft Dart. I don't know. I like Jackson Dart in a Chip Kelly offense.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you like, Chase. It matters what Tom Brady likes. So we'll see
very true.
which quarterback here Brady is going to be okay with. And I wonder if Brady's going to have that feeling that I've seen other organizations have when they think they're going to get someone the way he was probably imagining with Stafford coming in there and really shaping it up. And like I said, people I talked to with Vegas, man, they felt good about it. They thought that was happening. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Deebo to Washington. We talked about it last week. It happened. It all went down. And then we've got some other players perhaps on the trade block, perhaps maybe getting cut. We'll fill you in. We'll be right back. Back here on Scoop City, it was probably the worst kept secret in Indianapolis, and that was that the San Francisco 49ers were in deep discussions with the Washington Commanders for a trade for Deebo Samuel. The 49ers received a fifth in return compensation. I tweeted that. Your response was?
Yeah, wow. I don't
Too
know.
much or not enough?
I thought it was too much. I know some people that thinks it wasn't enough, but I think it was too much for an aging player.
Yeah,
who can still be a home run threat, but,
I think there are some that had that opinion, especially considering the fact that there wasn't a lot of competition. John Lynch spoke with several teams. He was looking for a fourth rounder, but in the end, he settled, with a 2025 fifth round pick with the Commanders. But my thought was Adam Peters, the general manager, he scouted Deebo out of college, right? He knew everything about him. He obviously has a trust in him. He believes in some type of skill set that he could bring to this young quarterback. What do you think he does? Like, what's the immediate Deebo Samuel and Washington addition do for you?
Yeah, the Deebo Samuel we know and love is a beast with the ball in his hands. He's an absolute playmaker. He can take a now screen, like just throw it out there right now at the line of scrimmage, 60 yards. He can catch slant routes, his run after the catch. He's an angry runner. He's a tempo setter. He's all those things. That described him in 2021. His all-pro year when he had 1,400 receiving yards. I think he had almost 2,000 total yards, 14 touchdowns that year. He's struggled with injury. He's missed 20 games in his career due to injury. So I don't know. I think it'll definitely have an impact on the offense and on Jaden Daniels when he gets to the Commanders. We've never seen, and I'm going to be interested to watch, we've never seen Deebo be the true number 2 option, because that's what he is right when he gets to Cliff Kingsbury's offense, because they have Scary Terry, which, crazy or not enough or not, he's making more. Deebo's making more than Scary Terry, which I imagine would probably change.
They're going to try to, Terry's going to try to get extended. We'll see.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Deebo be that true number 2. So how does he handle that at this point in his career where he's 29 years old? When you go to San Fran, he was always their third, fourth option. He was their gadget guy, but a really good gadget guy like that, because you had, when CMC was healthy, you have CMC, you have Brandon Ayuk, you have Kittle, and then you probably have Deebo, right? He only got 12% of the touches in San Francisco, but now he goes to the true number 2 option the day he walks in that building come the start of the new league year. How is he going to handle defenses preparing for him even more? Okay, because they're going to try to take away Scary Terry. Is he a good enough receiver, a true receiver, to be that true number 2? I don't know. This is a prove-it year, in my opinion, for Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, well, San Francisco dealt him, and they're also open to trading Brandon Ayuk, right? So,
which is crazy, Diana. Make it make sense.
Well, first, you love the numbers, right? So you got to figure it's essentially 50 over 2, right? Over the next 2 years, they own, right? From a salary standpoint, that's tough to trade, right? $50 million over the next 2 years, guaranteed money. That's not easy to do. If a team wants to trade for him, that's expensive.
Coming off injury too.
Coming off injury. So, look, I think San Francisco is resetting to a degree here, right? They've made a lot of big commitments.
Yeah.
Rebuilding a little, right? Like this isn't a rebuild. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like a slight one.
Retool. Call it a retool.
Retool. And I just think they're attempting to be proactive here. That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Knowing that they got to pay Brock, and the defense made a lot of investments. So I think they're just trying to get reorganize in a way in terms of their salary, their contracts, the money they're spending. And look, they're going to listen. You heard John Lynch say it after we reported that they were open to trading him, that, look, you get calls on star players. And I think they're going to talk to teams to see. Yeah. But you got Pearsall, you got Jennings, you got Ayuk. I mean, that's a great three with Brock Purdy. That, I'm taking that. I'm saying if they can't trade him, they're still winning.
No doubt. And I think they like Ricky more than some people realize. I think Ricky could be a really good add to that offense, a value add, especially with Deebo out. But my thing is, what? I don't know. I guess I just don't understand, why you would pay Brandon Ayuk and take forever to pay him, and then he gets hurt, and then you trade him after the year. Because, Brandon Ayuk is I think, a legitimate number one receiver. And if you only have him for $50 million over the next 2 years, if you think he's going to be healthy, that's a bargain. And so I just don't know in any stretch of imagination, before you jump in, how you lose Deebo or you trade Deebo, and then you trade, if they do, trade Brandon Ayuk. How are you prepping your quarterback with star players around you? I don't know. When I watch film of Brock Purdy, the number one guy he looks to when healthy is Brandon Ayuk. And it's not even close. I need to play Ayuk. Now, Jennings is great. Jennings can go for 150 at any part of the year. He's the best number 3 receiver in all of football, and borderline 2. I truly believe that. But, Diana, we're talking about a number 3 receiver, and we're talking about a true number 1 receiver, in my opinion, that you're going to trade. I would not be happy if I'm Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and they are negotiating right now on that new contract. We'll see where that falls. I kept being told that it wasn't going to be that difficult of a contract, that this should happen over the next few weeks. So we'll see. We're in this
When's
time
the timeline?
period where a lot is. We'll see.
Okay.
It was explained to me that both sides feel like this could get done.
Oh. Cool.
I would think by the summer, right?
Yeah.
I was hoping. I was being hopeful for the draft.
They can't make the mistake in holding off like they did last year with Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk.
That was
bad
a
vibes.
disaster. That was a mess. A memorable year because of it too. It was so bad.
Yeah.
And sticky and clunky and every word in the book. So we'll see if they move them. We got a lot of calls. A lot of these conversations are happening at this exact moment. But the fact that they're trying to reset to a degree, they got to do it. The Jets also got to do it too, probably. They're going to probably have to cut Davante Adams, right?
Yeah, they can't trade him.
Look, he's got a $38.2 million cap hit.
Oh, my gosh.
Look, unless they're willing to take on half of that, I have a hard time.
There's no way, right? He's going to get cut. He can't be traded.
Yeah. It's,
okay. I was just there's no way.
I'll be surprised if it's not out by the time this drops, right?
Does he end up with the Giants?
It's where does he go? Just stay. Everyone loves Jersey. Well, you got to figure, they're talking, and I'm sure they're going to want to stay together, and, they're not going to want to go out the way that just was. So, but I think there's other teams that Davante Adams could fit right in and could be helpful, right? Your Chargers came to mind when I was thinking about this.
That's exactly what I said, because you can get him for a little bit cheaper. Mm-hmm. He's going to come in. He's going to be their bona fide number 1 receiver for Herbie. You got Lab McConkey in the slot. You got that run game. I love it. You know who else makes a little bit of sense? Who? Let's see if you read my... No. What? He's the Jets. Stay with him? No.
Kidding.
Packers. I like him back to the Packers. Good. Yeah, go back. I think that it makes more sense than you think, because he can teach those young guys up, and you can get him for a little bit cheaper. He can go in a system in a place that he knows. I like the Packers.
I feel like we spent so much time with Jordan Love this summer talking about how incredibly talented but young his receivers were.
So young.
And credit to him for believing in them and they could do it. But I think we saw many examples this year. They could really use the vet out there.
Bring Davante. Come on.
Those may be realistic situations, but we've got some dream scenarios of free agency coming up. If we could take a player right now, just kick the money and the contract to the curb, but just put this player in another team's uniform and we'd be pumped about it. I want to hear some of your thoughts. I've got two, you've got two. Let's share them next. So we've been asking you guys to comment on our YouTube channel and subscribe. And we've also asked for some mailbag questions because we always pick the topics that we're talking about and that we're excited about and that we're talking about in the league. But I'm sure you guys have some of your own thoughts. So shout out to you, the academic. So not the name of this podcast. Who put this question in. Chase, I thought you'd be perfect for this. He said, what on earth did the Bengals team staff do to the players' families that the players felt compelled to grade them an F- in treatment of families in the NFLPA team grade survey? So we talked about the survey last week. Yeah. You were a team rep for 9 years. We don't know specifics of this right now, but if you had a guess based on your experience, what do you think what strikes a chord?
Yeah, a couple things is just how they treat families. Do they treat families as like they are just as important as the players, as like when the player's playing and you text the security on the team, is he walking you down to the field, is he walking down to the suite? Like a lot of that goes into it because I've been on both sides. I've been where my wife will show up to the stadium, and this is for everyone, not just my wife, not favoritism. You text them and they help you walk you to your seat so you get there nice and sound. They have a golf cart to you. The Chargers did that and it was amazing. I've been over some teams where you show up and you just can't even get into the stadium. And a lot of young kids like that. A lot of it could do with the cheapness of the Bengals. They don't really like to pay people a lot of money. A lot of it could be with family rooms, and what family rooms are is like, hey, is there a room after the game when my husband who's playing can come out and can sit around and we can have a nice meal and sit and talk, and there's like family bands. I don't know if they have that, but it's got to be something bad to be an F minus, because I thought an F was like an F, like you failed, but an F minus adds to it. And their cafeteria was an F too. These Bengals are not rating really well in this system, are they?
Yeah, we need to pick it up there in Cincinnati. And yes, I was well aware F minus was a row grade. I was horrendous at algebra, which I'm sure shocks you.
Shocking.
All right, with free agency just a few days away here, it's fun to think about which players could leave the current team that they're with and move on to the next and perhaps make all their dreams come true. Saquon Barkley, right? I mean, isn't that like the ultimate example of where free agency was a absolute grand slam in every way?
Yeah.
So for this year, I want to start with you. Is there a player that you would like to see on another team where, because you think it would just be a good fit and really a win-win for all?
Yes, I do. And his name, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. And where would you like Aaron Rodgers to go, Chase?
Aaron Rodgers respectfully needs to go to the couch. I truly believe
That's not a team.
No, it is. It is a team. It's a really strong team. You've done a lot. You're going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just don't want to see him struggle like I did the past 2 years, because I don't want it, and it won't, but I don't want it to affect his legacy. I don't want him to say, man, this guy held on for too long. I don't want him to say, Sean Payton used to always say, and I think I've used this analogy on the show before, the NFL is a high-speed train, and the track never ends. It keeps going for infinity and beyond, Buzz Lightyear. And every single one of us is asked to get off of the train at some point in our career, no matter what. I don't care if it's I step off the train, you get cut, you retire, you go out on your own terms. What are we going to the Giants for, Aaron? Like what are we don't need more money. We don't need more passing yards. We're not going to make it to the Super Bowl. Go sit on the couch, or maybe your little retreat or whatever you want to do, and just hang out. Go be a Netflix superstar or whatever you're like. Just don't go play again. That's what I feel.
I'm not in your camp on that. I want to see Aaron play one more time. I'm with you on I want it to be for the right team in the right environment, and I'm struggling finding it. Like I was even thinking the Colts maybe, because they want to give Richardson some competition. He could use some veteran guidance, but I don't think that's a good fit for him either. But I don't want Aaron Rodgers' career to end the way it did. I want to see him have slightly more success and some joy in his life.
I mean, I get that.
And look, it may not happen. It may not happen. We can't force it. If this is it for him, this is it for him. Okay, so Zach Bond is going to have a great market, already has a good market. He's going to get paid, and he wants to get paid, and he deserves to get paid. Obviously, just won a Super Bowl ring with the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to see him in Buffalo. I think his personality fits it. I think he's got that same type of makeup, that same type of profile that Buffalo defense is like. I mean, he'd have to play the mic because Milano's there, but I like the idea of him being there, and I think the Buffalo Bills need to continue to just keep adding pieces to a defense that I already think is really stout and good. Look, I know Philly wants to keep him. They're going to try. I just think they're going to get outbid on Zach Bond, and he's going to be one of those. He's just going to be one of those players they're not going to be able to hold on to.
Could you imagine?
This is what happens when they're stars.
That's awesome.
That's there. There you go. So you're down for that one?
I like that a lot. Yeah, him and Sean McDermott, man, that'd be great. All right, I got one more.
All right.
Not talked about a lot, but I don't know if a player has had a better free agency year than who I'm about to say, and that person is Ronnie Stanley from the Baltimore Ravens. Here's what I want to happen.
He had a good year last year.
Great year. Go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Their tackle situation right now. You said money's not an issue, so this is why I did this.
I was just going to say, well, then who are you going to move over, though? Because they just tagged Trey Smith, right? They're going to try to extend him.
You drafted Kingsley Suamataia in the second round, didn't work out. And you promised, you did this after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Veach. You went out and you solidified that offensive line even more. Get your guy and move him to the left tackle. Get him to left tackle. Make sure you protect the franchise, and that franchise is Patrick Mahomes. And in this scenario, money does not exist. This won't happen, but I'd love to see it.
I don't know what my problem is with dipping in on Philly today, but I've got another Philly one for you. God. Which, by the way, I love the Ronnie Stanley one. That's a really good one. But you got to figure it. There's so many teams right now that could use him.
Trenches. Build through the trenches.
You've got the Patriots. You've got the Titans. Obviously, Kansas City. The Ravens are going to want him. They're not going to want to let him go either.
I don't think they can afford him, right? Patriots have so much money.
Yeah, so he's going to probably hit free agency here and get paid a buku bucks. Okay, so this is kind of breaking a free agency rule because he's not a free agent, but I'm all about like the fireworks for the next few weeks here. I want to see the Patriots, as you mentioned, trade for A.J. Brown off the Eagles.
What?
It's not happening. But I was just thinking of how they're not desperate for number one, but they need somebody. And with Tee Higgins now unavailable, and this wide receiver market, Chris Godwin's really good, but he's coming off an injury himself. There's not a great number one weapon. On top of the fact that the Pats head coach already coached A.J. Brown, they're tight. They always had a really good thing, despite the fact that they traded, when they were in Tennessee, they traded A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles, as you know. It would be sort of, they would be reunited, and I'm sure they'd be thrilled about it. I doubt Howie would ever in a million years do it, but...
Last show,
make the call.
I don't hate it, and let me play into this. Last show, you made me put on my GM cap for something. We did. I'm going to make you put on your GM cap right now.
Easy.
If you were Howie Roseman, and you could have Myles Garrett, but you had to trade away A.J. Brown, would you do it?
Yes. Myles Garrett is the best at his position. It's not even close.
A.J. Brown's top 5 receiver, though.
A.J., do not take this personally. I know you listen to Scoop City sometimes. I think that they can figure out a replacement on offense easier than adding the strength of what a Myles Garrett can do on defense alongside Jalen Carter. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I know. It's an interesting question.
It's okay. Forget trading away. Well, you bring that up. You trade away AJ. You get assets in return. You use those assets to go get Myles Garrett. Look, trade is done. Did it. GM of the year.
GM
This is
cap.
what I've been telling you. I tell GMs all the time, which I'm sure they love to hear from my dumb
is it
ass.
St.
I'm
Patrick's
like,
Day?
you know I could do this. Are you making fun of my collar?
I just asked a simple question.
I know, it's very green. It's very green. It's green for money. It's that time of year. Everyone's getting their money. And I'm getting no sleep.
I need sleep. I need sleep.
I need to stop doing that, by the way. When I do talk to GMs that are cool, I'll be like, you should hire me. You should make me chief of staff. I don't even get the polite, like, great idea. I get the no. Like, all good, all set.
Shoot your shot. You got to shoot your shot.
Try. I don't know. Maybe I'll work in the NFL one day. Who knows? Either way, I love what I'm doing here. I love what I'm doing here on the podcast with you here on Scoop City, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're going to be back later this week. Of course, we are doing a lot of prep work for what free agency is going to look like next week. So maybe if you're commuting and traveling, or perhaps you're maybe just sitting at your desk listening to us or watching us, hopefully we'll be able to get you through free agency and you'll feel like you're on top of all the news, because we are going to be all over it, tweeting, on the show, on YouTube, everywhere. So make sure you check that out. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.